we are going to take a look at our bracket predictions. Now, we've given some hints over maybe the last couple rounds, kind of teams we were leaning towards, even earlier this show, of who we're leaning towards. But it's time to officially crown who we think is going to be this year's premieres.
And these are going to be our official picks for the first round, too, right? Because we're still doing our tipping comp.
Yep. We're just going to do it there. I feel, Donnie. So I have a strong feeling we're just going to go over these week one finals. We're probably all on the same page here. The biggest toss-up being between Melbourne and Sydney. I guess just correct me if I'm wrong, but we're both going with Geelong, both going with Freo, and both going with Richmond. Correct?
We are, but here's the thing, though. Our beloved third wheel of the tipping comp.
Third wheel, the faceless and voiceless third wheel.
We got to. I'm honestly thinking if I could get him onto the grand final preview, we probably should, because he sent me his tips. Or at the least, listen. He sent me his tips, and we've got a chance to catch up on him because he has Brisbane beating Richmond. And he has the Western Bulldogs beating the Fremantle Dockers.
You know what? The Doggies isn't a horrible tip. I definitely have a lot more beef with Brisbane, but I'll take it.
The Libba injury scares me a little bit, but I understand why he's going there. So I have Richmond. That's yes, fair. I agree with that one. I have Geelong. I agree with that one. I have Fremantle. Agree with that one. But here's my wild card. I have Sydney winning this game against Melbourne because I like the
Me too.
I like the MCG matchup, and I've been saying it since this came out. The MCG fits Sydney well. The kicking ability, if it's on point, can manipulate Melbourne's zone defense well enough. I think they can score. The biggest question is can a Logan McDonald, an Isaac Heaney, a Tommy Papley kick goals to make the matchup with May and Franklin neutral no matter what? Because instead of bombing it to Franklin and letting May play a one-on-one game, find other options and almost use Franklin as a decoy, and then maybe have Franklin be a crummer on marking contest where he can use his athleticism and skill to maybe slip out, kick a couple of goals, and maybe open up this game. This is a tight one. I'm going to be chewing my nails. It's going to be the hardest Friday morning ever. I think Sydney wins it, but if they win it, it is close. I think it's under 2 goals. I think this is an absolutely fantastic game. And do not be shocked if Sydney has more fans at the MCG, because there are a ton of Swans fans that on all of the social medias that I'm seeing are going to this, both Victorian and New South Wales and Sydney-based Swans fans. They are going to descend on the G. So I hope the D's fans show up, because if not, it may be a lot of red and white at that game, which will be fascinating to see. So that is my first round in there. So I have Geelong, Fremantle, right, Richmond, and Sydney moving on, which would then leave Collingwood, Fremantle in that first eliminator. Who do you got moving on from that game?
So first off, we both had the same 4 teams, so we're the same ladder so far. Yeah. And one, my take, Sonny. Here, I'll drop. It's probably going to be a hot take here, and it's probably going to be a bold prediction. All right. Okay. Since I don't have a bold tip for this round, because I am not tipping the Doggies or Brisbane. All right. I was kind of tempted to maybe tip Collingwood. That would be a little bit bold, but no, I'm going to keep things serious. But in lieu of that, because it's my show, I make the rules. I'm going to give a bold prediction, so not necessarily a bold tip, but a bold prediction, and that is that both Papley and Heaney combine for 7 goals against the D's.
Wow, 4-3, 3-4, 5-2. Most Swans fans will not turn that down.
Exactly.
As long as it's not 7 goals, 8. Like they kick 8 behinds combined.
Oh, that'd be horrible.
Unless they're scoring a lot, because then that means somehow Melbourne's defense falls apart, which I highly doubt will happen.
They were playing. I think it was one of the mid-season games, kind of near the middle of the year, but I saw Papley kick one. And I was like, I think it's really quick. I was like, oh, Papley's kicking forward this game. And he went out to kick 4. So, when I say Papley does things, it apparently happens. 1 for 1, baby. That's 100%. So I'll take that one.
Well, Pap's got to find the center goals. And unfortunately, there towards the end of the season, he got a little wayward. He had one game he was 0-4, and the next game he was 2-5. So he's got to find the big sticks a little bit more accurately, a little bit. And if he does, he's a dangerous matchup for a lot of people because of the fact that he can lead, he can mark in the air, and he's great on ground, and he reads the play really well. He's a great crummer. And the other thing is he gives his team so much energy. When he kicks goals, he celebrates, and it brings energy to this young team. So if I'm Melbourne, as much as Buddy is a dangerous opponent, Papley is number 2. Because if you let that little stinker get his energy into Sydney, it can really motivate Sydney. Sydney tends to. Sometimes I believe Papley is a barometer for that team. If he's going, Sydney's going. So I'm fascinated to see how Melbourne handles him, because Papley was one of those that got Melbourne in a couple of points, and I think it really energized Sydney's team. So I'm fascinated on that matchup.
All right, but now we're going to go on to the semifinals, and for both the matchup scores is going to be Collingwood and Fremantle, and we're going to get Melbourne and Richmond. Now we're going up, first thing one, we're going to go with the top matchup, the first matchup, that's Collingwood and Freo. I am going to take Collingwood in this one, just because I think even against a team that a lot of people are writing off in the doggies, it's going to be a pretty close game. I don't have sorry, Freo fans, I don't have tons of faith in your team this year. I think they're good. I'm just not sure if they're good enough. I think Collingwood, I think it's going to be a ridiculously close game against Collingwood. Of course, that kind of goes without saying when we're talking about the Magpies. But I think Collingwood's going to probably win a game by 6 points or less. And when it comes to the second one of the semifinals, I told you earlier, the coin of destiny was going to make an appearance on it.
Out for the Richmond.
So the coin of destiny is going to determine whether Melbourne or Richmond advance to the preliminary finals. So with that being said, Donnie, let's flip a coin. So of course, heads is Melbourne, tails is Richmond. We're flipping right now. Oh, it's tails! Richmond's going to pull the upset. Richmond's going to the preliminary finals. You can book it right now. The coin of destiny has never told a lie, and I do not think it will start now. Melbourne is going to lose in straight sets to Sydney and Richmond. And there we go. The upset of the season, or at least of the finals, is going to go down in the semifinals. Richmond, congrats to you guys. You're advancing to the prelims.
I love it.
I don't make the rules, man.
Gosh, you got me thinking a little bit more than I actually thought I would. I'm with you. I think I got Collingwood. Just the trip back to the East Coast for Fremantle, I think will be a little difficult. Plus, again, I think Collingwood. Depending on, like I said, I think it depends on how they lose to Geelong. If they lose badly, then I'm a little worried on that one when it comes to confidence. But I'll tip Collingwood in this one. I'm not super confident in that tip. And then I'll go against the coin of destiny. I have Melbourne. I think they're structured. I think they're structured defensively. Will be able to kind of neutralize Richmond, and I think with their talls and their strong midfield, I think they can kind of overrun Richmond a little bit. So I have Melbourne and Collingwood moving on to the preliminary finals, which would see a Geelong Melbourne one prelim, Sydney Collingwood the other prelim.
The cool thing is I can cover my butt on this one because it wasn't me speaking. It was a coin of destiny. So, of course, if I'm wrong here, it's the coin's fault, guys. It's totally not me.
Well, then the coin will only be 3 for 6, and it'll go down to 66% correct.
You know what? Whatever. As long as my reputation still stays far from perfect, I guess we're kind of in the same boat here. Me and the coin. Well, realistically, there is a 50-50 chance that Richmond beats Melbourne because it's either they do or they don't. All right, that's 50-50 in my book. So let's get on to the preliminary finals because even though the coin of destiny spoke in the semifinals, I don't think it makes a lick of a difference. No matter who Geelong plays in this one, whether it's Melbourne, whether it's Richmond, I think the Geelong Cats advance, and I'm liking Sydney in another matchup with Collingwood. I like Sydney and Geelong making it to the grand final, 1-3.
Mm-hmm. I'm exactly the same with you. I think Sydney Collingwood, Sydney's pressure. I think Collingwood, it's a bad matchup defensively. And then I like Geelong against Melbourne. I think that their ball movement, I think, will give Melbourne headaches. And the two biggins will make Lever have to guard somebody. And if Lever has to guard Cameron, it is a bad matchup because Cameron is much, much more mobile. And I think he'll give him headaches. So I have Geelong and Sydney in the granny as well.
Oh boy. So it all comes down to this. The grand final is going to be taken against the minor premiers, Geelong Cats, and the third on the ladder, the Sydney Swans. Now, this is a game where, as Donnie alluded to earlier, they play each other very early in the season. Definitely different Geelong team there. Maybe a similar Sydney team, though, that we're seeing now. Geelong is trying to get a little bit of revenge from that earlier loss where they lost by a fairly decent margin in that one. Dude, I really do think that these are the best two teams that we see in the comp from round 1 to round 23. I think these have been two of the best teams, two of the best teams. This one was such a toss up for me too. Like, obviously it's easier to pick Geelong. I'm not saying it, that it's. I mean, obviously they're going to be the favorites in this one, but Sydney can play Geelong very well. I think that this stylistically, this is a really, really interesting matchup that we're going to be getting here. Of course, this is one I really hope we get. But how do you see this one going down, Donnie?
This is one of those offensively. This could be dynamite. A grand final, a big wide ground. Both teams that are pretty good using the footy on this absolutely magnificent MCG. I think it's going to be fascinating. I know people are going to be like, "Damn it, coach, you homered this one." I'm tipping Sydney, and let me. This is not red-hatted Donnie just going homer tips on this one. I really thought about this a lot. Geelong's biggest thing that they've really changed is that they've kind of structured things a little bit different. They brought Sam de Koning in, but if you put Sam de Koning on Lance Buddy Franklin, you're gonna out athletic him because he's younger. But strength wise, if Buddy can get him tied up, he's gonna have a strength advantage like no other. Can the defense then from there be able to stop Franklin, Heaney, Papley, and Hayward? I think Will Hayward is the guy I'm thinking could be a grand final of the ages, because that fourth defender's got to take Will Hayward. He can mark it above his head. He can kick goals. He's a great crummer. It's going to come down to not the top 8 of the 22. It's the bottom 5 or 6. And I think Sydney's bottom 5 or 6 are just a little bit better. Defensively, it will be a fantastic game. Two really good defenses, two really good offenses, two relatively really good midfields. I think it'd be fantastic. I just think Sydney's kicking ability and the fact that I think if Geelong's the weight in between each game could cause them some issues too. Sydney's a younger team. I don't think it'll take that much. The issue I would see in this game big time would be the nerves of a young team on a big stage. The only thing that I think will help Sydney is that I think Sydney would have a fan advantage because the South Melbourne fans would show up. I think the red and white would be very, very thick in Geelong in at the MCG. I think the Swans may get 60-40 when it comes to the fan support at that game, which I think could help them out a lot. So I'm going to tip Sydney in this one. Again, I thought about it so much and and there was part of me that was like, does Sydney get to the grand final and lose again? Because Geelong's a team of destiny. And I just, there's something about this Sydney team. If they get going, they're scary good. They're scary good. My only worry is their inconsistencies earlier in the season. Do they rear their ugly heads in a much more pressurized finals? So I'm going to take the risk. I'm going to tip the Swans here because I think if they hit their stride at the right point, there's not a team in this league they can't beat. I'm not saying they will. I'm saying they can.
I love it. I really do. And to give my prediction here of who is going to take home this year's premiership, I'm just going to paint a picture. And this is a picture that I've been thinking about for the last couple weeks now. What's going to happen here? One of my favorite players of all time, Peyton Manning. He won the team for my favorite team ever, the Denver Broncos. He went out in a blaze of glory. We had a future Hall of Famer going to the biggest game of the year, the Super Bowl, and he goes out. He doesn't necessarily have the best game because he was pretty noodle armed that whole season, but that's besides the point. Shout out to that defense, all right? But he goes out on top. He's the Super Bowl champion. Here we go. Bold tip. I guess fairly bold prediction too, Donnie. Buddy Franklin kicks 4 in his last game of his career. He goes out as a champion and a Norm Smith medal winner.
Wow, that's a call. That's a bold tip there.
The perfect way to end a career.
Oh yeah,
perfect.
If Buddy
Franklin is going to do it.
Honestly, like I'm 100% with you. I think if the Swans somehow if they get a flag this year, I think Buddy retires. Legitimately, that's what he went up there for. He wanted to win a flag. I think he does.
I think they can do it, man. I think they can do it.
Definitely, again, it's definitely possible if Sydney plays its best footy, they've got a shot. Again, Geelong is a difficult opponent. Melbourne is a difficult opponent. Collingwood will be easy. So this is, like I said, this is going to be an insane finals. Like anything can happen if things go certain ways.
But there you have it, folks. The team of destiny and the first seeded team, the top team on the ladder, the minor premiers, are once again going to make their way to the grand final and find a way to lose, because the young guns over at Sydney are going to be taking home the shiniest trophy in the world, right up there with the Lombardi Trophy. And Buddy Franklin is going to have the perfect ending to what's pretty much been a perfect career. Now, there's going to be a lot that needs to happen for the Sydney Swans to be victorious and for our ladders to be proven correct. But it's definitely there. And Donnie, I love just how damn close our ladders are. And one of the things Donnie is right a lot of the time. So if I could be anywhere close to what he's saying, then I think I'm in a pretty good boat here. So I'll happily take that one with you. Of course, our ladders are exactly the same, or our brackets are exactly the same, besides the semifinals, where the coin of destiny has Richmond toppling Melbourne, but Donnie is taking the D's in that one. But besides that, it's pretty much the same, and I'm so stoked. I'm so freaking stoked. And if Sydney could take this home, man, I'd be so ecstatic for you. I'd be so ecstatic for Buddy Franklin. I think this would be truly remarkable, and I think it'd be a great time. Of course, especially if we get the grand final matchup we think we're going to get between Geelong and Sydney. That just means our live stream for the grand final is going to be so much fun, man. That's just going to be a good time. Having Brad on we're going to try to have Brad on as well, a fellow Sydney Swan supporter. They're both going to be rocking their scarves, I'm sure, and it's going to be a rip river night.
I don't know about scarves. It still might be a little warm for that, but I mean, the Sydney garb will be on high on that one.
It's all I know. It's going to be a damn good time. And there you have it. There you have it, folks. That's our breakdown of the finals. We went over our overreactions. We broke down why every single team can win the grand final. Take a look at the biggest weakness of any team, and that's Brisbane's defense. We're taking a look at some of the most impactful injuries. We took a look at the teams most likely to lose out in straight sets. And we talked the most pressure. We talked the brutal truth of this year's finals, man. And it's going to be insane. And Don, I mean, really, anything else you have to say about the finals for this year? Because we are just hours away from first bounce of Brisbane and Richmond.
Oh man, just the excitement level is at peak. It is at peak, and the fact that we are out mere hours away from the first bounce of the first finals game of this season. It's like pins and needles. as much as I'm going to try to sleep tonight, I think I'll sleep okay. It's tomorrow night.
Yeah.
I'm more a little bit, for me at least, tomorrow night I'm a little more worried because it's the sleep before the Swans game.
Yeah.
It's just there's such a palpable energy. I mean, I'm in the States and I can feel it. You can just feel it. There's a palpable energy for this finals because there is that unknown of what's gonna happen.
Dude, oh, it's so good. I am so ready for this. I am so ready. I really don't know what else to say besides let's hurry up and get there.